Well, es-Safi Gath is a very large multi-period site with remains from the prehistoric through the modern period. And in particular, we have very, very impressive and extensive remains of the Canaanite and Philistine culture. And the site during the Iron Age, or what would be parallel in biblical terms to the period of the First Temple, this is the site known as Gath of the Philistines, which is one of the major Philistine sites. And in the biblical text, it's known as the hometown of Goliath. And we've been excavating here for 15 years, and we've found extensive remains of many periods and many cultures, and in particular, those of the Philistines. We have a very, very impressive siege system that was built around the site in about 830 BCE when the Arameans captured the city of Gath, the Gath of the Philistines. And when they captured the city, they destroyed the entire city, and we have a very, very well-preserved destruction level, somewhat similar maybe to a Pompeian situation where everything is here and everything collapsed with hundreds and hundreds of well-preserved finds. So that's one very interesting find. We have, for example, an inscription mentioning two names which are very similar to the name Goliath from the Philistine levels. We have remains of a very, very impressive Crusader castle, Blanche-Garde, which was connected to Richard the Lionhearted. We have one of the largest cities from the early Bronze Age in this region. So we have a very wide set of very interesting finds. And from all these various remains and the study of these remains, we can learn about how the people lived, where they came from, what their diet was, how their health was, who they were economically involved with, who they traded with, etc., etc. And all the data that we're collecting in the excavation, from the macro things such as stones and pottery to the micro, such as DNA, carbon-14, phytolith samples, etc., enables us to build a very, I would say, a rich reconstruction of the mosaic of life, of daily life. We have a team of what some would call archaeological scientists or microarchaeologists who are working in the field with us as an integral part of the team. And this includes physicists who are doing carbon-14 dating, chemists who do materials analysis, botanists who study ancient plant remains, zoologists who study the ancient animal diet, geomorphologists who explain how the processes of the formation of the tail in their environment, and et cetera, et cetera. And we have a field lab in the lab, which enables us to get results almost immediately. And I would say it's so much so that it's almost as if the profession that I studied as a student 30 years ago is almost a different profession from what we're doing now. The toolkit that we now have to study the past is so expanded and so much more sophisticated than what we had 20, 30 years ago, that it's as if I may perhaps comparing 19th century medicine and 21st century medicine. And that's one of the exciting aspects of archaeology, is how the avenues of research are expanding so fast and so broadly, and pulling all this together, and that's my job as the director of the excavation, is a fascinating exercise in coordinating different perspectives and tunneling all this, or channeling all this data to try to paint I would say, a picture with color and more meat on the bones. One of the things we're doing now is we have a digital data entry system, which up until recently, everything was entered by, writing it down. Here we have computers in the field, which the data is entered. It's then backed up. It's sent to the cloud, and it's all there. And it changes our ability to retrieve the data and save the data, and not have replication of mistakes. And I think we're really at a stage when the tools that we have are shifting drastically and dramatically.